Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Saur, Darkchylde, and welcome back to Let's Replay Ace Attorney Investigations. Last time, we're finally putting the pieces together for how this trial was done, and possibly who did it. So, let's see if we can bring this case to a close. September 10th, 2012, 6:15 p.m., District Court, Courtroom Number 3. Okay, what are you doing here?
Oh, hello, mister. I'm still investigating.
But the object you're looking for has already... Okay, don't mind him. Please continue with your investigation.
Okay, you got it.
Detective Bad, haven't we already found out what you're looking for? If it means to keep her in the dark just a little longer, any little task will do.
Oh, you're more sympathetic than I thought. I've been waiting for you, Edgeworth.
I've also been waiting for the moment in which we can finally lay this case to rest.
The moment in which we can finally lay this case to rest? Wasn't that when we placed Detective Gumshoe under arrest? I think we've more than solved this case already. Don't you? We'll see. It all depends on whether or not your logic holds. Oh, I see we even have a viewer in the gallery. And why even Mr. Bad is here? A viewer in the gallery? I'm hardly just a bystander.
I have a duty to see this case through to the end, no matter how it turns out.
Oh, is that right? Anyway, I thought you might like to hear what I've slaved away to find out. I've taken statements on every single person's movements during the time when your suspect was in the hallway. I also confirmed that there was no possible route to escape from lobby number 2. Therefore, the killer must, without a doubt, be Detective Gumshoe.
And that's all you have?
Yeah. That's all there is to my conclusion. And this case.
Sorry, but I beg to differ. In a trial, there is always time for a rebuttal, and we are standing in a court of law. It'd be more than appropriate to follow the rules of court in this case, don't you think?
How absolutely like a rookie to think of such a thing. But alright, I'll play along and give you a proper testimony.
If my logic is correct, then I've already won. All I have to do is prove it by showing who the real killer is. misuse argument.
Everyone says the suspect has an alibi for when the gun went off. Furthermore, the areas around the crime scene have all been thoroughly investigated, right? I also confirm that there is no possible escape route from lobby number 2. Which leaves us to the unshakable conclusion that Detective Gumshoe is the killer. Now that you have your testimony, I expect a good rebuttal, Mr. Edgeworth.
But of course. There is no need to confront her logic head-on right now. But I should instead focus on drawing out any trump cards that she has up her sleeve.
Everyone says the suspect has an alibi for when the gun went off.
The suspect? I thought the detective, if Gumshoe's alibi has already been proven.
Are you joking, Edgeworth?
I assure you, this is no joke.
Look, I know you heard from the judges earlier that the detective was in the hallway with Mr. Faraday's daughter eating a Swiss roll.
Yes, that is correct.
But see, that was about 20 minutes before the real gunshot went off, right? And the problem is, there's no one else who can corroborate what he did since the snacking.
I see she's done her research well. Which means that I should focus on drawing out whatever trump card she's withholding.
Furthermore, the areas around the crime scene have all been thoroughly investigated, right?
Whether they have been thoroughly investigated or not is for me to decide.
The scrounged eyebrow, the lines on your forehead are back. Anyway, even if you believe it hasn't been excessive, the crime scene lobby number 2 has no way out other than the hallway Detective Gumshoe was standing in. And because he claimed to be there, that makes him the only possible suspect.
But isn't it also possible that someone escaped through the window and into the garden?
That's the first place everyone looked, silly. The police aren't a bunch of lazy bums. They looked into every possibility, you know. Isn't that right, Mr. Bad?
Yeah. There wasn't a scrap of evidence to suggest someone used one of the windows. There also wasn't any footprints or anything in the courtyard garden. I suppose they really did check everything they could be relevant in the case.
I also confirm that there is no possible escape route from lobby number 2.
Are you absolutely possible that there is no possible route of escape?
Of course I'm sure.
And why are you so certain?
This is a courthouse, the place where criminals are brought to be judged. If there were any escape route, I'm sure every criminal would be using it to escape. It's just common sense. Miles Edgeworth, I suggest that you use a bit more of it in the future. Ugh. Which leaves us with one unshakable conclusion that Detective Gumshoe is the killer.
You may think this is unshakable, but to me, there is still too many unanswered questions. For example, who was it that placed the gun in Mr. Faraday's hand?
But you're the only one who's still wondering that. Detective Gumshoe probably had no idea which hand Mr. Faraday used to write with. Even if you know someone, it doesn't mean you'll know which hand they write with, right? I mean, I certainly don't care about that sort of thing.
I'm not about to let her get a rise out of me with such a flippant statement. I suppose we've really reached the end now. I already have my trump card ready. All that remains is to play it. But before I do, I think I should inquire into a little something about her argument. You said earlier that you confirmed the alibis of every person other than the suspect. However, I don't recall either Franziska or myself speaking with you about the suspect.
But there were witnesses. For you, there is your mentor who gave you the alibi.
I see.
As for the little Missy, she came to the courthouse during the recess and was stopped by the security guard heard at the door of the hallway. She gave him quite a whipping for that, or so I heard. I'm the daughter of Manfred von Karma, and I will not be forcibly stopped by a god or a bailiff or anyone else.
Wait, so basically the only reason Franziska bothered to show up today was because she found out that I was to be the replacement prosecutor? By the way, Miss Yu, what about everyone's alibi before Detective Gumshoe was assigned to guard duty?
What about them?
Have you looked into what people were doing during that span of time?
What kind of idiot do you take me for? It doesn't matter when the killer went into lobby number 2. From the time we heard the gunshot, up to the time Mr. Bad and I arrived at the scene as we dashed from lobby number 1, the only person who could have committed the crime was Detective Gumshoe.
Yes, let's talk about when you and Detective Bad heard that gunshot, shall we? I suppose that if you go by your logic, then Detective Gumshoe is the only one. However, that is what if the crime had occurred at an entirely different time than when that gunshot you heard went off? What then? That gunshot was a trap meant to...
Sadly, your explanation is lacking, Edgeworth. The gunshot we heard in lobby number 1. Care to explain how that could have been fabricated?
Take that!
That tape?
Yes, It's exactly what you think it is. This is the surveillance tape of Mr. Rell and the prosecution presented in today's trial. This was found loaded in the video player in lobby number 2. That was connected to the large television that had its volume turned all the way up.
You can't honestly mean that the sound we heard was the gunshot in the video.
But I do. Which leads me to my next point. The murders occurred much earlier than anyone heard the gunshot. That's the only thing I can think of too. After committing double homicide, the killer took the surveillance video out from Mr. Faraday's evidence bag, turned the television's volume all the way up, and left the video to play. If played from the beginning, it would take 30 minutes for the gunshot to come on. And since we now know that this method of time manipulation is possible, it opens the possibility that the killer is someone other than Detective Gumshoe.
Sounds from a television doesn't amount to much here. But of course, Mr. Prosecutor Edgeworth and Little Miss Von Karma already knew that much from the very beginning, right? Of course we knew! Didn't we, Miles?
Yes, of course. We know about the soundproof quality of the courthouse's rooms. Of course, I'm not about to admit that we had no idea until only a little while ago.
That's right. And if the rooms are soundproof, then we should not have been able to hear it. And yet we heard the gunshot clear as day.
And
that's it. End of story.
But it's not. The window was open. There was actually one common point between lobbies number 1 and number 2. And it is that despite the fact that both rooms have air conditioners installed, a window has been open in each. Now, we know that the window in lobby number 2 was opened by the killer. However, a window in lobby number 1 was also open.
It's probably just coincidence that they were both open at the time.
It was no mere coincidence, I assure you. Why was the window opened in lobby number 1? The answer is that a certain someone did something to cause the window to be open. And the person who triggered that action, that person is the real guilty party. The real killer in this double murder is... well, who else is there?
Take that!
Ms. Callisto Yu. I hereby firmly indict you of the murder of Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell.
What? You indict me? Are you serious, Miles? Why do you think she is the killer?
I don't understand her motive just yet, But of course, I'm serious. Because she is the only one who could have done it. Well, Miss Yu, do you still feel like laughing now?
Of course I do, Edgeworth.
My argument must not be tight enough yet.
Although I never thought things would spiral into this. But I'll have you know, I'm enjoying this dance quite a bit. I guess this means it's time for my own rebuttal now, right?
Miss Yu's rebuttal.
You argue that the window was opened. However, do you have proof that it was I who opened that? Furthermore, do you have proof that the tape was used in committing the crime? Frankly, I'm shocked at you for going around accusing people of murder like this. Especially with logic as full of holes as yours.
This is where it really starts. I mustn't let my guard down for even a second, or the truth will blow away. Now is the time to put the patent and von Karma perfect proof to the test.
You argue that the window was opened. However, do you have proof that it was I who did that?
Objection!
I'm sure you've seen this spot before, haven't you, Miss Yu?
Edgeworth, I never knew you were into wearing that kind of perfume. It's not exactly what I'd recommend for boys, you know.
Well, this isn't mine.
That's right, it's mine. And I received it from Detective Bad, you see.
Ms. Yu, you can pretend all you like, but we know at least this much for sure. That this bottle of perfume was given to you, to Detective Bad by you.
Because it gets really strong, really fast. So, what about the perfume?
While you were in lobby number 1, you made a big show of spilling some of this perfume. That's according to Detective Bad.
Oh, I know.
You also knew that if you spilled it, he would naturally move and open the window.
Come now. Oh, I've already told you that that's all just a big coincidence. After we opened the window in lobby number 1, I just left it open, you know. So maybe it was just dumb luck that we heard the gun shot through the window.
The timing of when you were going to spill the perfume is something you could control. But the most important fact about this case is when people were made to hear the shot. Furthermore, it would have been pointless if you didn't have an alibi for yourself at the time. You mean, Miss Yu, you were the one who called Detective Bad into lobby number 1. When you saw him bring Detective Gumshoe into the hallway, is that correct? All of today's premeditated events could only have been thought up by you, Miss Yu.
You accuse me of murder on the fact that I spilled a little perfume? Well, allow me to say this much. I couldn't have killed Mr. Faraday.
Would you care to testify as to why?
Look, I've had a lot of fun today, really. But I grow weary of this game of cat and mouse. Let's make this the last testimony and wrap up this absurd case once and for all.
Why it couldn't be me.
Accusing someone of murder over a spilled bottle of perfume is a bit over the top. But I suppose forgery of evidence is to be expected as a disciple of Von Karma. In any case, it simply could not have been me who killed Mr. Faraday. After all, I don't even know where the knife that was used to kill him came from. Miles, her testimony is flawless.
Yes, but no matter what sort of trick she may try to pull, she won't escape me. And if I'm lacking in information, I'll just draw it out of her. And wanting to wrap this up,
accusing someone of murder over a spilled bottle of perfume is a bit over the top.
I think I already explained the significance of that earlier.
You only confirmed that I did spill the perfume. But that's all. That you would accuse me of murder based on a simple spill? Don't you dare complain when I sue you for defamation of character.
Do as you like, but as for me, I believe...
You believe?
I believe that you are the true culprit of this case.
My, you're enthusiastic. Of course, I should have guessed. But I suppose forgery of evidence is to be expected of a disciple of Von Karma.
I formally request that you detest in your attack against my mentor.
Yes, or we'll sue you for defamation. All I'm doing is telling the truth. Well, maybe more like spreading gossip. Although, your adamant denials are, shall we say, just adding fuel to the fire?
How dare you!
Say such a thing!
Calm down, little girl. Don't let her get to you.
Did you have to ruin my fun? Well, shall I continue? In any case, it simply could not have been me who killed Mr. Faraday.
And why exactly could you not have killed him?
I was just about to testify to that. You're such an impatient man. I'm not really into that, you know, Edgeworth.
Ugh. Your preferences have no bearing on what is at hand.
Feeling a little uncomfortable, are we?
Ah.
Miss Yu, You will desist this tomfoolery and return to your testimony. And Miles, if you're going to lose your cool, then I won't show you any mercy.
Ahem, sorry. Ms. Yu, please continue with your testimony.
Sure. As I was saying, I couldn't have possibly killed Mr. Faraday. After all, I don't even know where the knife that was used to kill him came from.
At this rate, she will inevitably escape. But if she really was the one who killed Mr. Faraday, then she must have known about the existence of the knife. I'm sorry, Miss Yu. Maybe you weren't aware. However, the knife that was used to kill Mr. Faraday was taken from his evidence bag.
Miles, what do you think you're doing?
I'm drawing the truth out of her. That's what I'm doing.
Huh? But I don't recall a knife being presented at the trial earlier today.
Well, I suppose that's because the evidence was something Mr. Faraday had yet to use.
So that's what you're trying to do. Look, why don't you cut it out with the lies? I've already figured you out. There was no knife inside Mr. Faraday's bag. The only evidence that had yet to be presented was the key the Yagurasu had sent. And unless the key can magically turn into a knife, you really don't have a leg to stand on. Did you really think you could trap me? Come now, be honest.
I never intended to do such a thing. It was all a misunderstanding on my part. In any case, I wonder if you might append that what you just said to your testimony.
Sure, why not? I'll even say it as many times as you like. There was no knife in his evidence bag, but you can't kill anyone with a simple key.
Objection!
Miss Yu, I wonder if you might take a look at this photo for me? This is the picture of the key the Yagurasu sent to the police. However, while it may look like a key at first glance, it in fact has a secret ability to transform into a knife. It means that what was inside Mr. Faraday's bag was both the Yagurasu's key and the murderous knife. You knew that the key was inside Mr. Faraday's bag, did you not?
Yes.
Well, with the Yagurasu's key alone, it's more than possible to kill Mr. Faraday. Do you understand now? Just knowing...
I still haven't had a good look at it. Showing it to me from that far away, hey, you could be lying for all I know.
You would even know, oh, still feigning ignorance.
I'm not feigning anything. But we can't have you accusing me of a crime with false evidence now, can we? I mean, Mr. Von Karma, I've heard some very interesting rumors about him. Ah, are you mocking my papa?
Don't you dare sully the good name of my mentor! Now take a good look. This piece of evidence is more than real.
Wow, who knew there was such a trick to this thing?
Are you satisfied now? But of course, you knew from the very beginning, didn't you? You knew that the knife and the Yagarasu key are one and the same. Otherwise, someone like you who isn't a member of the law enforcement and who would never have the privy to this trick would have neither known about it to begin with. Furthermore, was something that the Yagarasu sent to the police. How did you have knowledge as to what it was?
Actually, I heard it from Mr. Faraday. Just before he dragged Mr. Rell off, he told me. Oh, that's right, I almost forgot. He also told me about the key turning into a knife at that time. But he didn't tell me about how the key actually transforms.
What you are saying is simply not possible.
Oh, and why not?
Because Mr. Faraday himself didn't know about the hidden knife in the key. From within these pages, he mentioned nothing about a knife.
I'm not sure he would have written everything in his organizer, you know. Wouldn't something as of this importance be better left to oral communication?
Unfortunately, that is also impossible. Because Detective Bad didn't know about the knife aspect either. What would have been highly classified information even within police force? And is something that even the lead detective on the case didn't know. Why would Mr. Faraday have felt the need to share such information with the opposition?
Yeah, I guess he wouldn't have much of a reason to. Looks like I gave a pretty lame excuse, huh?
How can you laugh at a time like this?
She probably just realized the flaw in her logic and is actually in a panic over it. But that's not something we need to concern ourselves with.
I suppose you're right. Ms. Yu, I'd like to state that I also know how you know the real nature of this knife.
Do you? Well, why don't you put your money where your mouth is and show me?
Oh, I will, and I'll wipe that smile off your face by the time we're through. This is it, the moment of the truth. The secret behind the Yagarasu key. Only one person would have had knowledge of it from the get-go. Who would know the secret? Who would know from the start that the Yagagarasu's key he changed into a knife? Who else?
Take that!
There's only one person who would have known about the dual nature of the key.
And that is?
And that is the person who sent the Yatagarasu key to the police. That is to say, the Yatagarasu herself.
Are you saying that this lawyer is the great thief Yatagarasu?
Ms. Yu, you used Mr. Rel to lure Mr. Faraday into a trap, didn't you? You, who profess to bear a grudge against criminals, why? Why do you something like this?
Who would have thought that you, a stupid rookie prosecutor, would see through me? You're sending the biggest chill down my spine right now, Edgeworth. This feeling of thrill, it's even greater than when I sneak into someplace.
You killed Faraday. Why? Answer me. Callisto you.
Callisto you, huh? That's not my real name. Because my real identity is the Great Thief Yatagarasu. Let me tell you something, Edgeworth. Mr. Faraday was one difficult man to deal with. For you see, he had discovered my true identity. Which is why I had to erase him from the world of law. I made Rel an offer, an acquittal for a little favor in return. All he had to do was accuse Mr. Faraday of being the Yatagarasu in court. But once we entered the recess, Rel was dragged off by Mr. Faraday, which threw my plan into a complete mess. I chased after them and eavesdropped on them through a crack in the door. That Rel caves to only two things, money and authority. Just as all things do, thugs do. I feared my plan was going to be ruined if Mr. Faraday held on to Rel any longer. Plus, if I had let them continue on the way they were, I would have been found out. That's why I had no choice. I had to kill them both.
But didn't you say that you despise criminals?
But do I really?
You? Have you forgotten about the KG-8 incident, you?
Maybe. What sort of woman would?
So then, it was your plan to kill Mr. Faraday with the very evidence that you sent?
Well, I had a good idea of what Mr. Faraday was going to do. I anticipated that Mr. Faraday was going to prove that Rel wasn't the Yatagarasu. But using this Yatagarasu's key as evidence, and that he would bring it with him. Which is why I thought to use the knife portion. a weapon as well disguised as this, no one would be the wiser. Because who in their right mind would think something like this could be a weapon? I casually entered lobby number 2 on the pretext that I had to talk with Mr. Faraday. And in order to get in with him, I pretended to be worried about something. He then let me hold the Yatagarasu key just like that. He never noticed that I had changed the key into a knife inside that plastic bag. And he didn't even have the chance to take note of the knife that took his life.
How could you kill him?
I knew him for a long time, you know. At the very least, I thought to give him a quick and painless death.
But if you killed Mr. Faraday first, there was no need for you to kill Mr. Rel as well.
I believe my method why when we were placing Detective Gumshoe under arrest. Something about having accidentally created an eyewitness. And how that led to the killer her to think about setting them up as though they'd killed each other.
Then the trick with the surveillance tape.
Yes, I hadn't actually planned to use the gun. And the risk was too high that I'd be caught. However, that's when I remembered the existence of that surveillance tape. Which is why I had Rail help me set up the crime scene. And after all was said and done, I rewarded him for his hard work with a bullet.
You're a defense attorney, aren't you? How could you? How could you betray a client?
Client? If you want to talk about who was a client of whose first, it was me. I was the client in the murder of the Code of an Embassy staff member, Died Man.
You ordered a hit job?
You still haven't figured it out, Mr. Bad? I had Dead Man killed because he was about to give away information about the smuggling ring. Now, who exactly do you think would have benefited from such an assassination?
It can't be. You're...
That's right. I'm a member of the smuggling ring.
How could this... You don't mean you're working with Manicomhen too, do you?
Maybe not. Guess you'll never know. Yatagarasu claims to be a noble, but you're just another cold-blooded murderer. That's right, little girl. Yatagarasu is just another killer.
Be quiet, you! Yatagarasu! You can run from the law, but you'll never escape it. You just humbly accept the judgment of this court.
Hey, Edgeworth, did you know the Yatagarasu has 3 legs? Do you know why that is? No? Well, let me tell you. It means that the Yatagarasu has more than one razor-sharp her way to do her work. You really are too naive, Edgeworth. You even handed the Yatagarasu key right to me without a second thought. Everything may not have gone according to plan, but I'll still gladly take it.
You mean the key was your real target?
And even after I gave you such a great advice, didn't I tell you to always keep a good eye on a criminal? Or you may regret what comes of your negligence.
You two, get down! My body. I can't move.
Hey, mister, to your right.
You? Are you alright, Franziska?
I'm perfectly fine, Miles.
Her voice is shaking, but it looks like she's unharmed. Where did Kay go? That's a gunshot! Sorry, but it looks like she got away. I called the precinct. They should have a perimeter set up soon. Detective Bad, are you alright? I heard a gunshot. I'm okay. Just got another hole in my jacket. He may say he's fine, but he looks quite shaken. But more importantly, Mr. Edgeworth, Ms. Bunkarma, are you two hurt?
I'm absolutely fine.
I'm also alright, thanks to Kay. Speaking of Kay, where is she? I don't know. She just sort of disappeared. I'll go look for her. Oh, and hey, Detective Gumshoe. Yes, sir? Detective Bad, sir? I'm sorry I doubted you. Don't worry, sir. It's not your fault. Well, I lied to you guys too, after all. I heard about what happened from Kay. Lying while giving testimony is still unforgivable. But in this case, you were protecting Kay and her feelings. Looks like you just might have what it takes to be a real detective. Now, don't you ever lose that detective spirit. Got it? You got it, Pops!
Pops? Watched one too many detective dramas recently, have we? Way to single-handedly destroy a cheery atmosphere with one snarky comment.
I should get back to the investigation. I swear, I'll catch you if it's the last thing I do. Be careful, Detective Bad, and take care. Thanks. Well, I'm off. Maybe we'll run into each other again someday. Thanks a bunch, pal. You're the best. You really did find out the truth behind everything.
Yes, well, I'm glad we solved everything before you were taken to prison.
I can't believe how much trouble I caused you with my testimony, Detective Gumshoe. It's no problem, really. I mean, I lied too, so I didn't know anything. It's really not your fault, Your Honor.
Well, even if we didn't have His Honor's testimony, I think that lawyer would have found another way to get you convicted on her behalf.
Yeah, I can't believe I was about to get fired during my first week as a detective.
Well, so long as you're not fired, you should work hard, give all that you have, and perform your duties well. Oh, and one more thing. Kay left a present for you with me.
She did? Oh, what is it?
Take that!
It's a courthouse special Swiss roll! Can I really have it?
Yes, it's a present meant for you, after all.
Thanks a bunch. Hans, you have no idea how happy this makes me, pal. I'm gonna eat this right now.
Sure, go ahead. The Swiss roll rolls Detective Gumshoe and Kay's brought together, while the one Kay saved never reached her father. It would appear that her sentiments have touched the heart of this detective. He's so happy. It's as though he's having a welcome back celebration of his own. Well, I was asked by Kay to give it to him.
Whoop! That was so good, pal. I can't believe I got to eat 2 of these delicious things in one day. It's like I'm in Swiss roll paradise or something. I've gotta thank Kay myself. Hey, wait, where is she?
He only noticed just now? Well, was his mind not present when we discussed her earlier? Detective Bad had left to go search for her earlier. Maybe you should go join him.
Yeah, you betcha, pal. I'm gonna go help him. Oh, but first... You know what, pal? Actually, I guess I shouldn't be so rude to you anymore, huh? I'm gonna stick right by your side from now on, Mr. Edgeworth, sir.
I sense nothing but a most troublesome relationship from that ominous statement. We should go home too, Miles. We have to hurry and report what has happened to Papa. Agreed. Well, I'm afraid we must be going now, Detective.
Roger, sir. And don't you worry. I'll investigate the next case we're on.
on real soon, real well.
I'll, be counting on you. The scent of trouble is definitely in the air. Thus, like a bad dream, my first outing at court came to a disturbing close. A few months later, I was finally able to properly stand in court as a prosecutor. But the detective in charge of the investigation was, as I dreaded, Detective Gumshoe. After that, he became my direct subordinate. I have tried, but words fail to describe the immeasurable suffering he has caused me. But I suppose that's just how things are. As for the little girl who suddenly disappeared, she's now
So, do you remember now?
Yes, I remember everything. Kay, it's been a while.
Hey, you sure grew up a lot. Of course, but thank goodness. I thought you two had totally forgotten about me. You know, I was really worried about you after all that. Where have you been all this time? Gummy, I didn't know you cared. After my father died, I went to go live with my mother's relatives. They lived really far away, so I wasn't really able to come back here all that much. Oh, is that what happened? Well, I'm glad you're all right. So, does it all make sense now? You betcha it does. Oh, you know what? I was going through my father's bookshelves recently and...
Actually, there are still a number of things that I don't make sense, Kay. First of all, why did you come all this way to see me? And second, why are you calling yourself the Yatagarasu? The Yatagarasu is Callisto Yu, the woman who killed your father.
No, you're wrong. The real Yatagarasu was my father. Mr. Faraday was the Yatagarasu? Like I said, I was going through my father's bookshelves recently, and I found a secret diary hidden among his books. I have no regrets in choosing to walk the path of the Yatagarasu. That was written in his diary, and that's how I know for sure.
But that's impossible!
What's with that look? You don't believe me?
It wasn't just the expression on my face. I clearly said it was impossible just now.
Alright then. How do you explain this?
It's a way of disarming any security systems of the user's choosing.
Yup. That's Little Thief. Truth be told, this is the Yatagarasu's greatest secret. And this little gizmo was used by my father. Wow! Mr. Faraday wasn't just a great prosecutor. He was really a great thief, huh? Yeah, my father worked really hard to steal the truth. but he was killed, and the Yatagarasu was no more. But despite that, the Yatagarasu has been spotted again recently.
Someone other than you?
Here, Mr. Edgeworth. Take a look at this article.
The Yatagarasu sent the embassy a calling card?
Yeah, meaning this person's a fake. Hank, I'm almost certain that Callisto Steel, who lady, is behind this. Because the real Yatagarasu would never send something like a gaudy card out.
But the Yatagarasu did send a white card along with anything that to be publicized. That's what Detective Bad told me 7 years ago, if memory serves.
Well, as soon as I heard the news, I got all wound up and I knew I couldn't just let it go. So I searched you out, so that I could obtain the truth behind the Yatagarasu. Because if anyone could help me find it, I figured it's you, Mr. Edgeworth.
So you're saying I have your father's and Miss Yu's identities backwards?
Yes, because the real Yatagarasu is noble to the end. And I want to revive the real noble Yatagarasu. If I don't, my father will never be able to rest in peace.
Kay?
Kay, you're so honorable. I don't care what anyone else thinks. I'll always be here to cheer you on, pal.
Even if you are honorable, a thief is a thief. If you are plotting to commit a crime, then I'm afraid I can't be complicit.
Mr. Edgeworth. Ugh. You guys are not making it easy for me. Who am I supposed to support now?
Mr. Edgeworth, what I want from you is not to steal something. What I want is the arrest of the evil woman.
That evil woman? You mean Callisto Yu?
I think it's too hard for me to catch her all by myself. But I thought that since you were able to expose her for who she is, then maybe... Please, Mr. Edgeworth, won't you help me?
Come to think of it, I do believe I owe you.
Huh? Owe me? For what?
When Miss Yu made her escape, it was you who saved my life. Furthermore, you helped me with the investigation today. I am not so rude as to leave favors repaid.
Then you mean...
Yes. That case has been weighing down on my soul ever since that fateful day. Perhaps the time has come to settle things once and for all. If you don't intend to sully your hands in a crime, then I believe I can help you.
Mr. Edgeworth, thank you.
Yay, Mr. Edgeworth, sir! Isn't that great, Kay?
Yeah, sure is, Gummy.
Even though he had completely forgotten about her until just now. What is with their chummy relationship? The great thief Yatagarasu. After all that time, the true identity of the thief sank back into darkness. Brian Faraday, Callisto U, and Kay Faraday. The phantasmical, changing identity of the great thief Yatagarasu, and the Yatagarasu's real goal. It would all come to light the day after I made that promise to Kay. And that brings this case to a close for today's episode of Let's Replay Ace Attorney Investigations. When we come back, we will be starting episode 5, Turnabout Ablaze, the last case in the game. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, hit that like and subscribe button, leave a comment if you want, ring that bell to be notified when our next video comes out. We do new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and occasionally Saturday and Sundays. All this helps my channel to grow so you have more videos to enjoy. Till the next episode, this is Saur Darkchylde, signing off. Have a good night, folks, and enjoy the trailer for the next case.